right. Well, welcome to this episode of Couchside Conversations. I'm really excited to talk with Kevin today about the very fun topic of vacations. We often find that our clients and ourselves feel this guilt about going on vacation because we're trying to be financially responsible. But the reality is that your money, your finances, it should really lead to you having a better life. So Kevin and I are going to chat about our viewpoint on vacations and maybe some of the tips that we have for you as we are financially responsible, but also, I think, investing into ourselves and our lives.
Awesome. Excited to have this conversation with you.
So Kevin, you've shared with me in the past that you really enjoy going on vacations because it almost produces a sense of wellness or well-being for you and your family. Can you share a little bit on your perspective on that?
Sure. I love to travel. It's no secret that my wife and I really look forward to getting away, and whether it be with the kids or without the kids. But when we travel, exactly what you said. It's leaving the distractions behind. It's being able to escape for a little bit. And what's a little unique about our situation is we still work. It's really not fully escaping, but what it allows us to do is be creative. It allows us to talk about aspects of our business and what we're working on in ways that maybe we can't because the day-to-day grind is real. Yeah. And so sitting on a beach, having a margarita, saying, what's our next 3-5 years in business look like? And saying, let's dream big. A lot easier to do that when the waves are crashing and the sun's shining versus sitting in a conference room. And so there's that element of getting away actually, I think, makes us better at what we do.
Right? Sometimes our worlds are just small. And so you make them bigger by getting out of your regular day-to-day community and workplace to dream a little bit. Is that what you want to become?
You meet so many different people from different walks of life that bring different perspectives, and what do you do? And you can just talk about things in ways that maybe you can't in your local community or with other people. So there's so many benefits for us, and we love it. And I actually see the same thing for you. I mean, obviously Tahoe is such a special place, and you being in the office is incredible. Being here is so important to what you do. But when you get away and come back, I don't want to say you're a different person, but you have that bounce in your step again, that passion that you can see it. It's palpable. So I don't know what does it feel like for you when you and Marcus just can go, and what do you do when you're in Tahoe?
Well, I think one of the things that I love about Tahoe is just that my husband and I grew up there. And so it almost feels like I have two homes, but the Tahoe home is the home for creativity, for innovation, for nature and beauty and relaxation and being able to take that deep breath in the fresh air. And then my home here is for the other part of me that loves to be creative and achieve things and accomplish different parts of maybe my career, but then also accomplish what we're trying to do in our organization. And so I find that escaping to Tahoe gives me that breathing room that I need to then come back here and do the things that we want to do and impact the world in the way that we want to impact it. So it's a nice blending of all of the best parts of life. And I think investing into having a place in Tahoe is a big component to investing in my career too. Sometimes we don't think about that. You think about having a second home and you're oh man, that's a big financial responsibility. But what if that financial responsibility actually leads to more opportunity across the board? And I think that sometimes we're hesitant to do these things, but if we can actually think about the long term and the bigger picture, it makes some of the short term decisions a little easier.
Yeah, we joke around the office. We know when you come back from Tahoe, there's something that's going to be tried or changed. It's
I do love that.
Okay, Stacey's coming back. What's going to be new? What did she dream up? And but that is the value. We are better here because of you getting away and thinking through it. And so, for us, I think we're better parents when we spend a little time away from our kids. Love our kids. We're fully involved with them, coach, cheer, dance, all that stuff. But by spending a little bit time away, refocusing, working on our marriage and relationship, it makes us better. I think in the same way as an employee, as a partner, employer, you're better. You get to come back and you get to reset and refresh. So I think oftentimes our generation, it's our parents or even our industry. We say you shouldn't spend money on travel or on other things because you need to save for the future. A dollar saved is going to compound over time. You're going to have so much more wealth. So we're almost fearful to make that investment or spend that money. Yeah. And I think at first Nicole and we would tell ourselves that we're better for doing it, but we actually truly believe that and have seen the fruits of doing that. Mm-hmm. And so as we talk to modern clients and younger clients around what they should be doing, encouraging people to take that trip and invest in themselves and their wellness is so important.
Oh, totally. I call it the future me versus current me dilemma, right?
Yeah.
Current me knows what I need today. Future me is saying, hey, you got to save for this. But if we're always focused on the future, we don't live in the present. And I think that's one of the things that I love the most about vacations. And when you were just sharing that about like you and Nicole going on vacations together, part of it is just figuring out a way to be present with each other in life. Yeah. I think it's such a struggle for all of us to like balance all of the different things we have going, and we're constantly multitasking and we're like half in this conversation and half in that conversation.
It's crazy, yeah.
Sometimes when you get away, or for Marcus and I, when we go paddleboarding out on the lake, it's like, it's just us having a discussion, and there's not phones and pinging and emails and side conversations. And I think that's also a value that vacation brings, is it allows you to be present. And I think presence generally leads to more happiness as well.
100%. It's necessary. And one other point on that too, when I think through like something to look forward to, we're both passionate, we love our work, we could work all the time, but everyone goes through a phase where it's like, work it's stressful, it's hard.
Sure.
And if you know that you're headed to Tahoe in a week, or going to Italy, or have a concert on the books, like that ability to have, I don't call it light at the end of the tunnel, but I'm going to grind it out because we have this reprieve and this time to reset. Again, I think it makes us better at our job. That the health element of it is so important. So having that start on your calendar makes such a big difference.
Totally. Well, I know one of the things that our clients struggle with is they ask the question of like, how much can I spend on vacations? And then how do I make vacations how do I become financially savvy when I go on vacation? Do you have any like tips or thoughts on whether it's developing a vacation budget or on how to make vacations feel like you get more bang for your buck?
There's a lot of things we can do. Obviously, the budget element of it is going to be so dependent on each person's situation. There's definitely, you think about a European trip or just a getaway to a local hotel, lay by the pool. I personally don't see the value and the bang for your buck. Traveling to Europe is incredible, but just sometimes that one night getaway. So I think people think they have to spend all this money. You can do it in a reasonable way, but knowing your budget and then planning for it. I find that the trips that we just kind of go spontaneously, we overspend. They're still a lot of fun, but knowing what you're going to do, even saving for it, I think gives you a sense of excitement. So every month you identify how much in that paycheck is going towards that budget. You have the start on your calendar. You know that you're building towards it. To me, that is the smartest way to go about it. But then also I know you look at like different credit card savings or travel perks. So do you have anything that you like to utilize when you're looking to plan the trip and save or enhance that experience?
Well, I do also use what you just shared, the bucket approach. Like I have accounts are free to open. So I have like
You're one of those people.
I have a taxes account, and I have a travel account, and I have a home improvement account, and I love kind of filling those buckets because it also, I think, validates the work we do, right? You work so hard, and then you fill the bucket, and then you're like, I get to use that bucket for, like, it's fruits of the labor, right? So I think that's one thing that I would recommend for anyone to do is just, even if they don't love having all the accounts like I love having, but if they want to like mentally bucket what they earn, I think that's also really fulfilling.
Well, it keeps you too from putting it on a credit card. And we'll talk about credit cards, but like, I believe the worst thing you can do is, well, let's just go spend on a credit card. We'll figure out how to pay for it later, right? So doing it the other way, where it's like, I've saved X amount of dollars, put it on the credit card, but then pay it off. Because there's perks to that, but also you're not putting yourself in a hole where I've seen you put it on a credit card, you think you'll pay it over a few months, but then the dishwasher goes out and then your car breaks down and all of a sudden that credit card bill doesn't get paid off. So having that bucket approach, I think, avoids that.
For sure. And speaking of credit cards, so there's two credit cards that I love the most for travel. One is a Capital One rewards card. Capital One is really good if you want a low fee card and a card that you can just log online, and they have this tool called the Purchase Eraser, and anything that fits in the travel category, hotel, airfare, you just go on, and as long as you have the points, you can just erase the purchase. And so you don't have to like go through their website and book things through them to get it. You just can, like, anytime you spend money on travel related things, you just go on, erase the purchase as long as you have the points. So Capital One is great if you want a low fee solution. If you want travel perks, the American Express Platinum Card is a little bit better. You get Uber cashback, discounts on hotels. The last time I went to Europe, I booked it through American Express, had an issue, American Express deals with the airlines for you, but then they also provide like really good international specials. So you can go on your American Express website. The downside is you have to book everything through American Express.
Okay.
So, both of them have their pros and their cons. You also get airport lounges on the American Express
that's
one.
nice. Yeah.
But it's also more expensive. The annual fee is a little bit hefty. So I think if you can think through your credit cards and just choose whichever one matches what you want in life, that to me makes sense. But I certainly would book travel or spend money on credit cards as long as you have the money to pay off the credit card at the end of every month. Because my husband and I would say half of the travel we do is on points. And so it's basically free money. I don't have to budget it from my paycheck because my credit card's giving me that adventure. So I think leveraging credit cards is really key part of this. Yeah.
And you touched on it a couple of times. It sounds like convenience, right? Both
Yeah,
those cards, like we're busy. We have so much going on. If it can just be easy, I think oftentimes our friends and colleagues, it just makes their life a little bit better. One of the things I was like, oh, I don't want to spend money on using a travel agent, or like you think about some of those costs. Every time we've done it, they pay for themselves because they can negotiate rates. So like the room might be cheaper, or they'll throw in breakfast. And for a family of 5, breakfast at a hotel is expensive. So you think you're paying them a certain amount, but a lot of it is already covered in what they provide. But then the convenience part of it, they know,
so nice.
Don't go at this time, or that hotel looks great in the photos, but in real life it doesn't look
good.
like that. There's nothing worse than showing up and
Right?
being like, wait, this is not what I booked. And so having an expert and someone that really can give you those. So those perks, I think, the credit cards, like using travel experts for my friends, I know that is like the biggest thing. Can you book this for me? I have an issue, American Express, can you take care of it?
Well, and some of the travel experts are not that expensive. Like people think if I go through a travel agent, it's going to cost me so much more. Last time did a travel agent, I got more in perks than I spent in the fees.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I'm saying. It pays for itself, and you have a better experience. So we have access on the internet. We can all book and do things, but sometimes with busy lives and kids and work and everything going on, having someone be able to do that and just say, here's an itinerary. Do you like it? No, I don't really want to go paddleboarding for me because it's a lot of work. You love it. It's like, can you swap it out for jet skis? All right, let's do that.
Right.
So, it makes travel really enjoyable. And then going back to the first part of the conversation, we can focus on ourselves. We can focus on rejuvenating, thinking about business strategies and all of those things.
Totally. Well, one thing that I mentioned is the dilemma of current me versus future me. And sometimes we think it has to be like this or that, right? Like you either have to like save everything for retirement or you have to like live for today, right? We can balance both of those things. Is there any recommendation that you would give to people as they think through, like, how do I balance current me versus future me?
We have to, first of all, right? You're just not putting everything away and not working on today, but also you can't just spend everything. And we're living to be 100 now plus. So it's like you need to save for the future. I think, financial planning is really important. Obviously what we do and the impact that we can have to understand, all right, you're already putting money away for retirement in your 401k, or you have an investment property. So finding out, like, do you need to put more away? How much more can you spend on travel? Having that knowledge opens up so much freedom, because oftentimes we think we can't because we have to do something else, where in reality, if you just know what you have, you actually can.
Yeah.
So I think the planning element, the understanding the big picture, and even just mapping out your goals. How many people don't know what they want in life? They just kind of fly by the seat of their pants. So knowing, like, hey, if I could live out my perfect life and today and in retirement, what does that look like?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to plan. It's a lot easier to make decisions when you know that and have that roadmap. So
we talk a lot about how like finances aren't taught when we're younger, and we wake up one day and we're like, how do we navigate all of these complex situations? I also think goal setting isn't taught when we're younger, to be like, hey, we want to get here. What are the steps that we need to take to get there? And it's one of my favorite things that we're doing for our clients is like being that objective third party, saying like, how do you balance these things? Like you can do both, but it does take a little bit of maneuvering here and there. Well, I think traveling and saving for retirement is not a this or that topic. There are this or that topics. One of the fun things that we're going to do today is play a game called This or That.
Oh boy.
So in This or That, we're going to ask each other a series of questions that you and I have not prepared the answer to kind of get a gauge on our travel vision and experience. Does that sound good?
Sure. You're
Okay.
going to get some insight?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so first question, plan a trip from A to Z or travel with minimal planning?
We struggle. I tend to just travel without planning, and it goes against everything I said earlier. But fortunately, my wife is the A to Z planner,
Okay.
so it tends to have a trip planned A to Z, and then in the middle, I'll throw something
Yeah.
in without, hey, by the way, I booked this, let's go. So the trip is planned out, but I like spontaneity. I think that creates some of the best memories. So for me, it's definitely the latter, but planning is important.
I appreciate that. Your wife appreciates that too.
All right, so I have one. Only visit places that you've already been to, or only go to places that you've never been to, new experiences?
Oh, wow. Okay. I love going to places I've already been. Like I had to go the first time, right? So I'm not like opposed to it. I did it once, but the idea of like knowing like where to park, what restaurants to go to, what I liked there, what I didn't like there. Like I always get nervous. Like, is this a safe area? Is this not a safe area? What do I not know about it? And so maybe earlier in life I wanted to go to new places, and today I'm like, oh, I want to know already the things, and then that way I'll have a good time.
Oh, so different. Tahoe home, and you could go there all the
right,
time,
that's
where
true.
I'm like, I've never been here, let's go. So I see it differently, but I think that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, tough one. Miss your flight or lose your luggage?
Ooh, I would rather miss my flight, especially if it's Nicole's luggage, because we did have an experience where she lost her shoe bag, and let me tell you what a nightmare that is. Because
It was expensive.
You need walking shoes, you need dinner shoes, you need that was crazy. I just think the inconvenience of getting somewhere and not having what you need, but. If it's she and I together, missing flight. But if you have the kids with us, I would say just get me there. We'll figure out the toothbrushes and buy a souvenir shirt. But I think losing your luggage is just such a hassle and financial burden at certain points. So.
And overwhelming. What if you had something important in there? Totally get it.
And if you can get a flight soon right after, no big deal. If you're waiting a day, I don't know, maybe. But
makes sense.
Okay, so this one's a destination question. Would you rather be on a beach in a villa or in a cabin in the mountains?
In a cabin in the mountains in summer with a lake, so I can go to the lake.
So not the snow and cold,
I just manipulated that question.
You
into
did.
being what I want to do. I do love the snow. We live in Tahoe part of the time, and so I enjoy that aspect of it. But this year particularly, it snowed, I think, over 70 feet, and I'm a little tired of the snow now.
But you still like the cabin, just
Yeah, exactly. And there needs to be a lake.
paddleboarding and sunshine and all I get it.
All right, Kevin. First class flight or 5-star hotel?
How long's the flight? Right? And how long's the stay? I am someone who I've never really flown first class, and I was like, I'd preach to everyone, I don't need it. Just put me on a plane, get me to where I want to be, and let's enjoy it. I did fly first class for the first time a couple months ago.
Oh yeah.
And it was actually a red eye to New York, and so Nicole surprised me because I'm a big guy and the seats are small, and she's like, I want to be refreshed when we get there. We laid flat. I mean, it was we used points, so that was amazing too. So, but I would say the hotel, a 5-star hotel where you have the service and the amenities. Like getting there is one thing, but like once you're there, that is really what you're paying for. So if you have the points and if money was no object, I'd fly first class, but that's not something that's a high priority for me.
Got it.
Okay. I have a question that's regarding cost.
Okay.
Would you rather travel 5 times and have a strict budget or go on one trip and spend whatever you want?
One trip.
Yeah.
I want to feel safe when I travel, and I want to like enjoy food and beverages, and like I think of going to a restaurant as like going to an artist's home. Like I would just want to know what they're going to create, and I love the whole experience, and I don't want to look at the menu and think like that I can't have some of the things.
Look at it when it has the MP, the market price, and you're like, I want it. What is it? How much is it? I actually was not expecting that answer.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I just hopefully that doesn't offend you in any way. I was just being someone that likes to kind of know and have control. So I was thinking maybe you could kind of plan out your budget. But food is so expensive, especially when you travel, but it does make the experience, because if you're in a different place, different country, like I feel like you really understand the culture and the people through their food, right? And that's just such a cool experience. So.
And I think it's just maybe this has changed in my life too. I feel like I would have 5 years ago, you could ask me that question, I probably would have said 5 budget trips. But mentioned it earlier, I'm like kind of obsessed with this idea of presence. So I just want to go all in on the thing that I'm doing at that time and not like worry about a bunch of other factors that are happening in life. And
It's great.
what else could happen? Yeah. Do you want to stay in an well, actually, I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Do you want to stay in an Airbnb or a hotel?
I'm going to show kind of my, I don't know, bougie travel side. I want fresh towels and my bed made, and I want to be able to call concierge and say, like, can you help us with dinner reservations? So I'm not a big Airbnb fan. I get it, traveling with families and big parties or on a guy's trip, I can do an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Nicole and me or the family, I mean, there's just, goes back to that refresh. You don't have to deal with as much when you're in a hotel. So is that what you were?
No, I knew,
is that what you
I knew
thought?
you were doing that. One other thing I would just mention on Airbnbs is oftentimes they're not cheaper. So you have to look at like Airbnb fees, Airbnb cancellation, Airbnb like cleaning. And when I've compared and contrasted a hotel that allows me to cancel up to 24 hours in advance versus an Airbnb where I have to put half the deposit down now and I can't get it back, oftentimes Airbnbs are not worth it. So just even a travel tip for everybody is like, make sure that you're looking at the Airbnb fees, because oftentimes a hotel might cost you $30 more a night and you get like folded towels and things like that.
That's exactly why I don't go to Airbnbs.
Yeah, sure, it wasn't the bougie
That was
reason,
my
yeah.
answer. No. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun. Obviously, we both love travel and we're passionate about the benefits of doing that and encouraging, you know, our friends and clients to do it as well. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. If you enjoyed this, we will have future content. We're going to make this a series. And so subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram for future episodes. Have a good one.
Wow.